Hello, and how is everybody doing? How is everybody feeling? Today is Saturday. Well, for me, as I'm recording this, is Saturday, and it is gorgeous. I am I'm in Sacramento, and after living in SoCal for about 6 years and then coming back up north, it's just amazing. There is a huge difference weather-wise, and I'm grateful for both of them, the South and the North. So, it when you're away from home for some time, it kind of just put things into perspective. So I'm just finding a new appreciation of this super warm weather, hot weather. But anyways, without further ado, I'm going to get to this video before I get more off track. So I am wrapping up the 8 limbs of yoga. And if you haven't seen the previous videos, click somewhere over here, or you can also go onto where it says Mojo Speaks, and it has a lot of those videos discussing the previous 8 limbs of yoga, as well as other videos where I am sitting down and speaking to you as I am today. So I'm getting into 6, 7, and 8. And just to throw a disclaimer out here, this is just my perspective and my view on the 8 limbs of yoga. If it's something that you don't practice and maybe you are considering it, please do your research on it. And of course, your take is going to be completely different than mine. As we are different people, we have different ways of doing things. This is just my appreciation for the 8 limbs of yoga, as it has helped me become a better person for myself. And if you don't know, I'm all about self-love and self-care, because when you take care of yourself and you love yourself, you just have the ability to do so for other people. So that's one way of just building a better world, is taking care of yourself so you can be better for yourself and better for those around you. And it just spreads, the self-love, self-care, it spreads. All right, getting into it. So I had ended the previous video with pratyahara, and again, one of those videos will be up here. And the next one after pratyahara is Dharana, which is concentration. Dharana can be practiced in many ways. When you are meditating, for example, you're sitting down and you are concentrating on something. Some people have this idea that you have to think about things or you have to clear out your mind. When you're meditating, there are many forms of meditating too. So there's no right or wrong way per se. It's all about just stillness. And this goes for concentration. You can incorporate concentration with your meditation practice. So let's say you're sitting down and your mind is all over the place. This would be a good opportunity to think of one thing. And when you practice doing that, you are gaining more control over your mind versus your mind gaining control over you. And again, this goes back into stillness. It's really about just getting yourself to a point where you are not impulsively acting based on your mind, based on your feelings. You're sitting down, you're allowing yourself to decompress. You're allowing your mind to take a break. With this one in particular, if I'm not practicing this while I'm sitting down and meditating, Dharana can be practiced even when I'm at the grocery store. I've mentioned this and a lot of other of the 8 limbs of yoga, as I do have a problem with sitting still at times. So I find that when I am, antsy, moving around, and same with my mind, I find that when I'm to that point, it's time for me to take a time out. So if I'm at the grocery store, I'm out and about, and I'm amongst people, I will literally just give myself a moment and I will concentrate on something. Maybe it's a tree outside, maybe it's clouds, maybe it's my dog and she's playing and I'm just concentrating on her playing. I am practicing taking my mind off of all the tabs, right? It's kind of like a computer where you have all the tabs open. I'm taking my mind off of that and I'm focusing on something else. So it's all about just allowing yourself that time, which a lot of us have, you know, those moments. We have those moments where we really just, we're all over the place and we're here, we're there, we're everywhere. That is a good time to sit down and concentrate on something. Stand and concentrate on something. And again, this amongst the other 8 limbs of yoga, all of it's going to take practice. The next one, number 7 of the 8 limbs of yoga, is Dhyana. Dhyana, which is meditation. And all of these honestly can come together. You can bring all of your 8 limbs together and practice all at once. You can tie in one or another or a third one. It really just depends. I find that the more you practice it, it will come to you naturally. So with meditation, you're connecting to your one true self. You're connecting inward. So a lot of the times when I'm practicing yoga or when I'm teaching it, I like to refer to it as your inner world. I will allow my clients and myself to also tie in pratyahara, so you can diminish the sound and eliminate seeing things or what you're feeling, what you're hearing, all of your senses. Eliminate that just for a moment and bring yourself into the inside of you. So your inner world. We have our outer world and we have our inner world. So I like to refer to that a lot. And when you do that, it just, again, it takes practice, because a lot of us, we have this stimulus that's just, it's, you know, it's external. And sometimes, you know, if you're working or if you're a parent or if you have a lot of different responsibilities, yes, I totally get that. You need to be on alert mode, but your body and your mind needs to take a break from time to time from that, okay? Because when you're on alert all the time, this is why a lot of us will experience burnout. So you have to bring yourself in. Meditation, oh, I get a little passionate about this. All of the 8 limbs of yoga has helped, because again, they all tie in together. The meditation in particular has really helped me become a little bit more disciplined with myself when it comes to taking a break. This is coming from someone who used to be a workaholic. I would work 2-3 jobs, go to school, running around, doing all these things, but I wasn't really feeling fulfilled. I was experiencing burnout. I find that when I am taking a break and I'm actually taking care of myself as much as me putting in the work, it really helps balance. And that's what I'm all about. Creating a life balance. I don't want to say work-life balance, because a lot of us, we enjoy what we do. We don't really like to call it work. So it's a part of our life. Sometimes, on the other end, some people have work and life and they know how to separate the two. But all in all, this is your life. So creating a life balance all the way around. So Dhyana meditation is really good. Just like how I explained with the other 8 limbs, you can practice meditating off the mat. All of the 8 limbs of yoga, you don't have to just sit on the mat. I apologize for the background noise. I have the royalty-free music on, so it's showing all the ads. So I do apologize. I'm working on it. I actually should have used my Spotify, and I wasn't even thinking about that. So, anyways, I hope that's not too much of a distraction. But meditation, you can do this standing when you're out and about and just taking a moment. You can tie in concentration, Dharana, you can add that in there. You can add in pratyahara, with you're withdrawing out, you're just tuning out just for a moment. The next and final one of the 8 limbs of yoga, Samadhi. Samadhi, and there's a lot of different translations with all of them. However, I find that as long as it resonates with you, that's what it's all about. Words are going to have different meanings, right? There's going to have there's a definition, right? And then there's going to have certain meanings of how we interpret it. So the best way that I've come to with Samadhi is freedom from illusion. And another one that I like is you're in a blissful state. So Samadhi is when you're just at bliss. So state of bliss, understanding your true self and being present. This one I love. Sometimes I enjoy it so much to where when I start interacting with other people, when I'm in that blissful state, there's times where I don't want to. There's times where don't want to because they may ask questions that may have nothing to do with how I'm feeling the present moment. And sometimes that can be a little challenging to explain to people at times. Like, oh, I'm in a blissful state. I really don't want to talk about whatever you're talking about. So you might give them one of those, yeah, and keep things short and simple. And sometimes this will happen like after you're meditating and you're just at this blissful state. You're not worried about anything or anyone. You are just in a moment of being at bliss, being present. And then then all of the sudden, people, it kind of like gets you out of that blissful state when people start asking questions or start talking to you about random stuff. You're like, hey, hold on. So think of when you go to work, right? You go to work early in the morning and maybe you're not a morning person, and then people are chit-chatting with you while you're walking to your office or to your desk, and you're like, hold on, I just got here. Let me adapt. That's how I feel. Some people say that it's kind of hard to reach that point of being at bliss. And everyone's experience is different, but it is achievable. It just takes practice. And it's not one of those things where you can experience every time you meditate or every time you put something into practice. Sometimes you can experience a blissful moment just out of the blue. You just feel so at ease. Something just comes to you. There's some type of clarity that comes to you, and you just feel the most relaxed, no worries, nothing. There's nothing. So I think a lot of people might put other things on it to where it's like, oh, it's this magical thing, or I don't know. I think it's all perspective of how it feels to you, whatever blissful is to you. So I don't know. People have their own explanation on it, but I say, you just like with all the other 8 limbs of yoga, it's going to feel different to anybody. It's just going to feel different. But yes, that wraps up the 8 limbs of yoga and how, and it's my take on it. It's my take of how I perceive my research of what I've done with school and what I've done online, and also how I include these limbs outside, off the mat. So of course you can practice this on the mat, but yoga is also a practice that you do off the mat. It's something that you incorporate with your life, and I'm sharing my love for it. And yoga is more than just a physical activity. It is way more than that. So that's why I wanted to come on here and share it. It's all over the internet, of course. And I don't know, maybe I don't see a lot of people like myself speaking on it when it comes to yoga outside or off the mat. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you see about practicing the 8 limbs of yoga, see how it feels. You're not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. And it really can be life-changing. Anything is life-changing if you practice and do different things on a regular basis. That's going to make you change as a person. That's going to make you be a better person. Of course, depending on what you're doing. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.